I had mentioned, of course, we're going to be interviewing a female vocalist by the name of Delphia. Man, she's got an incredible voice. And so we're going to get a track of hers on, and then we're going to get her on the phone and introduce her to you. And she's being described as a cross between Adele and Aretha Franklin. And she's going to be performing at the Soul Dove here in Denver, August the 23rd. Go out and check her out, and you will see that description is very much true. So, again, her name is Adele. We're going to play a song of hers. Matter of fact, we're going to play one of her tracks that she's covered from Aretha Franklin. Then we're going to get her on the phone and just see what she's up to. So here is Delphia performing the Aretha Franklin track, Natural Woman.
Looking out on the morning rain, I used to feel so uninspired. And when I knew I'd have to face another day, Lord made me feel so tired. Before the day I met you, life was so unkind. You're the key to my peace of mind. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman.
Where my soul was in the lost and found, oh, you came along to claim it. I didn't know just what was wrong with me, till your kiss helped me name it. Now I'm no longer doubtful of what I'm living for, and if I make you happy, I don't need to do more. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. Oh, baby, what you done to me,
What you done to me?
oh, you make me feel so good inside. And I just wanna be close to you. You make me feel so alive.
Life is so unkind,
but you're the key to my peace of mind. 'Cause you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. Oh, you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me feel like a natural woman. Oh, woman.
there you have it, Delphia and her Deltones. I believe I got that right. And
yes, you did.
Okay, everybody, Delphia's on the phone. Okay, first of all, welcome. Thank you for staying up. Looking forward to talking to you.
Likewise, Skip. Thank you so much for having us.
Okay, so it is the Deltones. I said that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that was a live track from our performance at the Outpost Performance Space here in Albuquerque. That was back in October, and that featured at the top of the song a good friend of mine, a wonderful vocalist here in Albuquerque, Carrie Simmons.
Okay.
And so we did that one as a duet. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got that straight. All right.
Yes, sir.
So, Delphia, where are you originally from? There in Albuquerque or somewhere else?
No, I'm originally from the Poconos in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
And and so I spent much of my childhood and life there. I was born in Jersey, and then we moved over to Pennsylvania. And then I lived in Philadelphia for a few years when I began to branch out and perform. And then I moved to Nashville to pursue songwriting about 10, 11-ish years ago. And then some stuff happened there that, without being
too descriptive
pointed about it. Yeah, too descriptive about it. Just some trauma occurred for me there that really, in a single evening, really changed my trajectory, my life trajectory. It sort of put the brakes on me musically and creatively and emotionally and spiritually and effectively. I hit the pause button on everything about myself at that point. And so for 10 years, I didn't do music. I didn't make music. I didn't create music. I had a very broken relationship with music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been about 2 years ago that I finally began to address some of the stuff that had been sort of stewing and festering for a lot of years. And the only way I know how to cope with things was the very thing that I had been running from for so long. And so finding my way back to music, in effect, was my healing tool, and I just haven't, ever since I got back into things, I just haven't looked back.
Okay. So. Well, it's so good to hear that you've come back, and from what I've heard, listening to the music that you have out thus far, well, you've come back strong. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So now, Delphia, you play the piano. When did you start playing that, and how did it so happen to be that that's the instrument that you picked up?
So as a child, we had a piano that we passed down through a few different generations in my family, and so I know that my grandmother learned on it, and then my mom learned on it, and then my parents received it when they built their house in Pennsylvania, and so then I learned on it. And so as a child, I picked up piano for a bit, and then I kind of put it away in favor of the guitar for a lot of years. And so then as my life progressed, my writing style was very dictated by the guitar at that point, because that was the instrument that I was, bringing to school and bringing to my friends' houses, and it was just easier and more mobile, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so then my style, the music style, tended to be dictated by that. And so when I decided to rediscover myself musically, I thought, man, what can I do? Effectively what happened was I sat down at the piano one evening and then began to write, and the first piece that I wrote ended up addressing a lot of the stuff that had gone on, a lot of the trauma that I had experienced, and it just happened to be that I wrote it on the piano, and it just sort of felt right. It felt very much an extension of me, and from there on out, I just found when I began to write more material again, I found myself drawn to sitting at the piano to work that stuff out, and it just sort of organically happened from there. That would kind of be the instrument that sort of defines my sound now.
Mm-hmm. So, do you still, from time to time, play the guitar?
I try. It's funny, as I play piano more, and I'm sure it's a practice thing. I'm sure it's a muscle memory thing. But I find that when I go back and I try to play guitar, I just feel like it doesn't feel authentic to me. It doesn't feel, my artistry isn't found in there as much. It's still a beautiful instrument, and I'm so glad that I have the availability to play it now, to be able to, when I work with different musicians, to be able to sit down and say, okay, well, this is what I'm thinking of, and be able to show it in that way. But for me, the piano has definitely become my main sort of my safe spot, my home base, or my home, my home keys.
Yeah, well, I know from, listening to your music and watching the videos, it seems like it's just a natural part of you, the piano does.
It's very comfortable, and it's, like I said, I don't know if it's because it's sturdy and I just can kind of, I don't know, I sort of melt into that bench, and I'm able to just let it be an extension of my body, and then as a result, an extension of my soul and of my music, and so it's just become a natural fit for me.
Okay, so who were some of your influences growing up, musically and otherwise, if there are some?
Oh my goodness! It's funny. When I grew up, my parents had very eclectic musical tastes, and I think that's to any child and any human being, it's good to be well-rounded. It's good to be able to have appreciation for lots of different types of music, because then you get an appreciation of a lot of different perspectives. So my mom actually was a huge country fan, and my dad was a huge rock fan. And so we had a lot of that in the house, but my mom also loved musicals, and my dad also loved a lot of stuff from the 60s. And so it was a nice sense of me being able to be exposed to a lot of different types of music. One of the people that I would say even to this day that I still I admire, and especially in my songwriting, is Carole King. And obviously, the Aretha, the Natural Woman, was written by Carole King. She was this tremendous songwriter. And I've been just recently, I've been kind of going through Carole King's catalog and discovering all of these songs that, I found even a couple, articles where they said, 20 songs you didn't know Carole King wrote. And when you go back and you look at some of her repertoire, and you look at some of, her and her writing partner had a real stamp on a lot of music in the 60s and 70s that people aren't even aware of. And so I admire the fact that she was able to write so personally and yet so universally. And that's what I strive to do as a writer at this point, is to be able to write something that speaks to me and allows me to kind of work through whatever I'm feeling, but also can be something that anyone can listen to, and no matter where they're at in their journey or in that moment in time, be able to identify and sort of absorb that and put it through their filter and take something away from it that's helpful to them.
All right, okay. So, at what point did you, say to yourself, I think I want to try to make a go of this music thing? Or did it just happen naturally? Or did you really make a concerted effort? You know what? I want to do this.
Well, I think initially, I had a career prior to my 10-year hiatus. I had a career leading up until that point. And I recorded my first demo when I was 12, and then began to be shopped to record labels. And at one point, I had done another demo, and it actually got across the desk of Quincy Jones. And he was so encouraging and just a wonderful source of encouragement, and kind of spurred me onward. At the time there wasn't a project for, I was a 14-year-old girl, and there wasn't a particular project that he was going to work with me on, but he just was so impressed with what I was doing at that time, at that age, and it was a sense of, yes, keep growing, keep developing. And for me, interactions like that, a few years later, I had done another demo, and Clive Davis heard it. And I was able to audition for Clive. And that was, again, just these opportunities to have these people who are just, mega foundational cornerstones of the music industry. I mean, Clive signed Whitney Houston and the slew of so many other incredible artists. And to have those people look at you, listen to what you're doing, and say, yes, keep going, keep growing. I think for me, it was never a question when I was a kid that, yes, this is absolutely what I'm designed to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what excites me. But then, as you get older, when you're met with more challenges in the industry, I think that can weigh on you, and that can sort of deter you from your path. But really, the past 2 years after making the solid decision that, yes, music this is where it's at for me. This is what I do. This is who I am. It's been one of those things where once you make that decision to align with what your purpose is, you don't look back. You just forge ahead, and you just find the joy in each of the opportunities that come up as you go down that journey.
Right. Okay. So everybody, we're speaking with Delphia, and we're going to go ahead and pull up now and play another one of your tracks here. And
Fantastic.
When we come back, we'll talk some more, but I'd like everybody to hear this song. So everybody, once again, this is Delphia, and this song is called Nobody's Love.
You'll miss my skin. You'll just wanna hold me again. You'll burn for my kiss. 'Cause it'll never be better than this. Ooh, 'cause nobody's love could ever move you like a mountain or a sea. And nobody's love could ever guide you like my smile made you fly to me. But I'm well silenced. 'Cause now nobody's alone. You long for sleep, from the troubled heart you keep, and you'll miss my face, an angel to ground you from space. Ooh, 'cause nobody's love could ever move you like a mountain or a sea. And nobody's love could ever guide you like my smile made you
Oh, man.
It feels like we should just shut everything down now. We're done.
We call that the classic Delphia closer for a reason. Usually at that point, it's like, what else is there left to say?
Wow. Wow. Well, Delphia, one of the things that I want to commend you on, and I say this seriously, I've been a radio host for 12 years now, and, my show is primarily R&B and funk oriented, but I listen to a lot of stuff. I get tons of music from every genre sent to me. And I just like that you just have your own style, because so much music that gets sent to me, it's the same old cookie cutter, commercialized, follow this and follow that. And personally myself, I can't stand it. But that's why a lot of the stuff doesn't get played on my show, because this sounds like the last 200 songs that were sent to me.
Yeah.
So it's nice that you've got your own thing going on there.
Thank you so much. Well, I think it's important, and I think it comes down to intention. I mean, yes, I obviously you want to make music that people are going to enjoy. For me, it's always been I've made music essentially kind of for myself first. Again, if there's something that it's been my way to process through a lot of my life, and so it feels. For me, it's just very authentic. It feels very much it is my own thing, because it's just me working through something and hoping that other folks can glean something in that.
Right.
So I appreciate that you've noticed that. Thank you.
I think really, of course, marketing and promotion and all that is important no matter what you're doing. But I think that's really all you're going to need. If there's just a way to get your music and your exposure out there, it's going to catch on, because it's so different from what the music world is releasing right now. So,
thank you so much.
I know.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Yeah. Well, I'm a former professional musician myself from years ago, so I know it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but perseverance and a couple of right moves here and there, and the right people come along, and bam, it can happen. So I can tell you. On my show, we'll be supporting you all the way.
Thank you, Skip. I really appreciate that.
Okay. So now I always like to ask, this is what I call my $1 million question. What do you like about the music business or industry, and what don't you like about it?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I guess it depends on which facets of the music industry we're talking about. As far as... there are definitely elements when it is a business, and when the appropriate resources are available for an artist. I think that is one of the more helpful, more positive sides to the music business. The availability for someone to literally make this their vocation, their occupation, and a sustainable life choice, effectively, to want to be an artist and to be able to make that a sustainable thing. I think that's tremendously powerful and helpful. However, I feel also like in the course of how the industry is evolving, with the coming on of social media and the kind of power that can be put in, number one, in the hands of the artists at that, with that tool, as well as in the hands of the fans and consumers themselves. I often think that sometimes the way technology is catching up, that it's almost kind of pushing the music business, making it a little bit obsolete, the traditional record industry as it's been known for so many years.
Right.
So I think resources are important. I think the ability to be able to connect with fans is important. If we're looking at the music business as saying, being an artist, one of the things I do love is the availability of being able to connect with an audience. Again, I kind of start. The songs kind of begin as this thing for me, but then there's that second step of that connection with an audience, and that connection with a fan base, and that connection with other people, where I'm able to sometimes know that I am making that connection with people and that it is resonating with them. That's the other half of that coin, the other side of that coin for me. That's that other piece of that puzzle that sort of completes the journey for me in doing a song and doing a show, and it's that connection with the audience. That's that second half that I really, I think, at my core level desire. And so that's something, if we're, in the music business, as it were, that I really appreciate, and that is a wonderful, positive thing that I do love.
Okay. All right. And and there doesn't necessarily have to be, a side of it that you don't like. I mean, I've talked to different artists and they say, there's nothing I don't like. I love it all. So it doesn't mean, you have to give an answer to either or. It's just, do you have an opinion on both good and the bad, So,
yeah, well, and I think the other thing, too, is, I would say maybe one of the negative points or one of the difficulties in it is saturation, really, is this idea that there are so many artists out there. And again, it goes back to that resources idea where if you've got one artist who is sort of soaking up all of the available resources, whether it's from a label or on social media or however it ends up looking or being, wherever that comes from, it doesn't allow for much space for other folks to get their shot, to be heard, and to rise above the noise, and it makes it harder, I think, for everybody to get an opportunity to find their niche, to find their audience, to find the folks that they can connect with. So that would be, I would say, probably one of the things I don't necessarily like about the music industry.
Right, yeah. Well, Delphia, something that I've kind of lived by years and years ago, a good friend of mine, of course, he recently died about 2 years ago, but he was a well-known drummer. His name was Alphonse Mouzon. And, he played with people back in the 60s and 70s, such as McCoy Tyner, Weather Report. He's played with Stanley Clarke, Miles Davis. I mean, just a big name in jazz drumming. And I got to work with him many, many years ago. And he said something very simple to me. He said, Skip, he said, we do this music thing because we love it. He says, and if you have any amount of success with it, just consider it a bonus. And I thought, it's a simple way to put it.
Exactly.
It's a simple way to put it. Because he would have did it whether he had success or not, because he just loved playing, And,
exactly. It's an innate thing. And that's what I found with people who stick it out the long haul. And often, again, like you said, with perseverance, can get it to a place where it is a sustainable choice for them. But ultimately what it comes down to is those people, because they weren't necessarily in it for the paycheck at the end of the day. And that's the thing. That's what's going to spur you on, because, there's going to be a lot of years that the pay is not going to be great, but you've got to have the passion for it to begin with.
Right. That's it, for sure. So what are you currently working on? I know you're doing shows, outside of your hometown, and you got some new music you're recording. So bring us up to date. What's developing currently?
Yes. So in August, which first I've got to say, I love the fact that we're live right now. Sometimes when people do interviews, you do them a few weeks ahead of time. And so it's always kind of awkward to talk about the future like it's the present. So
right.
I appreciate that I'm actually saying things right now that are, yeah. So we'll be at the Soiled Dove, as you mentioned, on Thursday, August 23rd up in Denver at 8 p.m., and I've got a fantastic roster of Denver musicians that'll be joining me as my Deltones that night. And we're actually also going to do a preview performance Thursday, August 9th, which will be a variety of songs that we'll be doing at the Soiled Dove show. But that'll be 10 p.m. Live at Jack's, also in Denver.
Okay. All right.
Those are two show things that are coming up. And then I'm going to be recording my debut album with four-time Grammy Award-winning producer Larry Klein, who's worked with Herbie Hancock, Joni Mitchell, Melody Gardot, Madeleine Perreault, Lamar, Liz Wright, just a whole lot of fantastic artists. And so I'm very excited about that. We're nailing down recording time as we speak. And so I'm just excited to be able to get in the studio and to really to bring these songs to life, and especially with Larry at the helm. I think it's going to be a tremendous album, and I'm just so excited to share that with everybody when it's completed. Okay.
Well, of course, when it's done, where you got to get, a copy to, so we can.
Absolutely.
So we can do our part in exposing and sharing it,
Thank you.
So, Delphia, tell everybody, how they can stay in touch with you. You got a website, you're on social media. How can people just stay in touch with you and follow your career?
The easiest way is to go to my website, iamdelphia.com, iamdelphia.com. And on there, you'll see music, you'll see videos, you'll see links for all of my social media. On Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube. And so if folks want to get connected, there's also a tool available on the website that they can sign up for the mailing list right there. They can add me to their Bands in Town app, and then they'll know exactly when I'm playing and where, and they'll be the first to get those alerts so that they can come out and experience the Delphia experience live and in person.
Okay. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to it, especially the 23rd. I will definitely be there at the Soul Dove. So everybody, they can get tickets for the show. And so do they go to the Soul Dove's website to get tickets, or is there another site for that?
Where do they get the tickets? Ticketfly.com, but they can go through the Soil Dove website, and that'll link them right over to where they need to get their tickets. So it's very exciting. We're so thrilled, and I just can't wait to be able to build a beautiful relationship with Denver and get to really share my music and my story with everyone there. Okay,
well, I'm certainly looking forward to when you're here as well. So everybody, once again, we're speaking with Delphia, and again, August the 23rd, Thursday night at the Soul Dove. She's going to be performing live with her band, sitting in with a few Denver musicians, as you say, and a couple of them I know pretty good, actually. You know,
I was going to say, I've got the roster in front of me, if you don't mind me sharing it with everybody.
Go right ahead.
So for the Soil Dove, our Denver Deltones that evening will be Terrell Martin on drums, Keith Askins on bass, Andre Hazard on keyboards and harmonies, Sivan Hotch on saxophone, Kirby Velarde on guitar, and Sonia Hardy on harmonies. Okay. Well, you know, Delphia, it sounds like it's going to be it sounds like it's going to be a good show. I'm very, like I said, I'm on cloud nine as we've been working with these musicians and getting to know folks up in Denver. It's going to be a tremendous night, and I'm so thrilled. Yeah, and the Soul Dove is a great place to do it because it has an intimacy to it that I think it's going to lend itself very well to what you're doing. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody, once again, Delphia, and we're going to close out with another song of hers. So, Delphia, if there's anything more you want to say, if not, we're going to go ahead and close out with this song called Doing Just Fine. So you're good, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I missed it. No, I said if you had any last things you wanted to say, but you've said it all. No. Well, one of the other things that I wanted to mention is for folks who are near in the Albuquerque area, toward the end of the year, on December 22nd, I'll actually be performing with the New Mexico Philharmonic for their Holidays Pop Concert as well. Wow. And so that's another thing we're really looking forward to in the coming months. Okay. Well, from all you've just mentioned, it sounds like you're getting a hold of some good resources. I hope so. Yes, absolutely. Now I've said my piece. Okay. All right, everybody. Delphia. Thanks so much, Skip. Thank you as well. Check out her track here, Doing Just Fine.
You can't see crying eyes, and you can't sleep through the lonely nights. But as for me, I'm doing just fine. Came to my door, baby, told me goodbye. Said I kept you down and you looked around. So I'm the best that you would ever find. Now you can't see through crying eyes. You can't sleep through the lonely nights. But as for me, I'm doing just fine. You wanted to be free, you wanted to fly. Grass ain't greener on the other side. And as for me, I'm doing just fine. Now listen, I feel sorry, baby. Sorry for you, that you had to do what you had to do before you had a chance to think it through. Now you can't see through crying eyes, and you can't sleep through the lonely nights. But as for me, I'm doing just fine. Found me a man to treat me right. Now you're just lonely and you're asking why. See, as for me, As for me, baby, I'm doing just fine. Oh, as for me, yeah, I'm doing just fine.
All right, so there you have it. Delphia and the Deltones. We just played the track Doing Just Fine. She'll be here August 23rd at the Soil Dove. Don't miss it. So, Delphia, we wish you all the best with much success.
Thank you so much, Skip.
Okay, you have a good evening.
Thank you. You as well.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. You're listening to KGNU, Boulder, Denver, Fort Collins, 88.5 FM, 1390 AM, streaming at kgnu.org and afterfm.com. I'm your host, Skip the Funktologist. This is Sleepless Nights. We will be with you up until the 3 a.m. hour. We have much more music to play for you.